This is not a microphone that you can hear over there, but Tommy's been taping everything, and we're going to have it recorded and put somewhere, I guess. So I know it's hard to hear in here. It's even harder if you're talking. But I just want to get everybody's kind of a last comment from everybody, all the presenters. And if you got any questions you might want to ask, you can do that. So I'm going to let Walls, you want to start?
Yep, a few things. Number one, I mean, some of you have heard it. I don't know about anybody else's sessions, but our sessions kind of evolved over the day. And that is get a plan, know how you're going to handle it, and worry about from beginning to end. Get the next pitch thrown. Don't try to convince them who's right. Get the next pitch thrown. And in the end, if the wheels come off the wagon, make sure you've done the right things to check your boxes so that you know that you're in the clear and we don't have to worry about athletic directors and all that stuff not supporting us. By the time you have an ejection, you should have done enough that, well, the point is, if you check your boxes, you've done enough things that unless they're just out of control and want to go, they're not going to go. You have done everything you needed to do to handle the situation while it was easily to be handled. Don't ignore it. Problems won't go away. And that's it. Have a good year.
Along the lines of not ignoring it comes interference. Right? What are we calling inconsistently or not getting consistently? Batter's interference, force play interference. So I hope we learned some strategies today on how we can identify it and call it consistently, and also be prepared to talk to the coach and confidently talk to the coach when they come out to ask us why or what. We don't have to memorize the rule book to the point where we can regurgitate the exact verbiage to the coach, but we are familiar with it enough where we know the key points of the two interference plays, so when they do come, we can confidently speak to them, right, and not be afraid to make that big call.
Guys, you got to love the game of baseball. It's the only one that has ground rules because some things from one field are different from the other. It's also the only one that in the rule book actually allows the coach to come out and talk about a play. So when that happens and what we talked about, let's keep our heads level, let's keep our emotions in check. And I don't know, somebody said something to class about that was the fastest they saw Al move in the last 2 years. But I appreciate Al working with me on those arguments. Let's keep discussions to a minimum, and the games will go better.
I want to start by saying thanks to Greg and Matthew and Kevin and their and Al and Mike and Sam. Okay. Bob wants the guys on the board to stay for a second, so over here, but we'll figure that out. I want to thank those guys because without them, you guys would have had to listen to me, and we know how terrible that is. And my name would have been used more in vain than it already was in that room over there. But in all seriousness, these guys did, I think, a great job from what I was listening to other people say and do, and I really appreciate them helping me out and making this work and creating an environment where we can help each other get better. That's the key to what we're going to do right now, is we're trying to help each other get better. So when we said in all of this, and I'm sure you heard a lot of the things that sounded similar but in different situations, one of the things we want to do as a group is we have some guys that go from 0 to 100 in a snap of a finger and some guys that go to 0 to 0 in the length of a glacier. And what that does is it creates problems for our participants. They don't know from day to day to day how they're going to be treated on when things are not going as well as they want. So again, remember that for the most part, we got to have players, coaches, and us to bring apart a game. We're dealing with 16-year-old kids who have immature brains that are going to be defiant just because they're 16. So it's incumbent upon us to get them to understand what we want them to understand. Okay? And so what we want to do is, as an association, is get better at managing games, about having the experience be for everybody, be more positive. So I appreciate you all that role played. I know it's tough. It got to the end of the day. Some of you didn't want to do it. But it was great to watch everybody role play, and you did, and it worked well, I think. And I appreciate you sticking with us and being patient, and we're going to get out of here a little earlier than we thought we would. That's all I got to say. I would say thank you. Remember, we're going to do first and third webinars. Those are coming up all the time. And you're going to keep getting emails from me about invitations. They're only invitations. You don't like them, you got a delete button. If you would like to accept it, come on, I'd be more than happy to have you. Woodle wants to have the last word.